All right. Shalom, shalom, everyone. Introducing.
Akan, nice to meet you.
How old are you?
I'm 33.
All right. So tell a little bit more about yourself. I'm not gonna just, talk. Yeah.
Well, like from childhood or like education-wise, which one do you?
What do you want to start with? Whatever you feel comfortable starting with.
I guess we'll go with the topic then, which is about partially about like what they're teaching us in our educational system. So I went to a high school in Malton called Lincoln Alexander. I went to Seneca College for paralegal studies. I went to York University as well for my bachelor's degree in political science and philosophy. And I also did my master's at York in public policy administration and law. So those are, at least when it comes to education-wise, that's the academia side of things. So other than that, I was born in Toronto, originally in Chalk Farm until I moved to Malton and back and forth from Jane and Wilson ever since. Yeah, that's pretty much the brief bio of who I am in a nutshell. Aside from that, I'm just your typical black guy. Don't get me wrong. I do a lot of work when it comes to combating systemic racism. I fight on behalf as one of the members of Malton People's Movement. We bring in a lot of attention to the killing of field regional police of various members within the community, such as my homie Jamal Francis, Ijaz Chaudhry, DeAndre Campbell. We bring a lot of attention to what's been going on with field regional police and the shooting of Chantel Krupka as well. So we keep a lot of things going. So it's not just the education side of me, but it's also good to know what my political stance is on things, to let you know that I'm a very pro-black individual, if you probably can't even tell already. Yeah, so that's pretty much me in a nutshell though.
So what would you like to share in regards to in navigating the education system? Like what things...
One thing I would say, especially when I'll gear this towards York.
Okay.
Because due to the topics that I've picked, which is political science and philosophy, I took that on as a double major at York in honors. And one of the things that I've noticed within both discipline studies is that they don't teach a lot regarding black political thought. It's largely ignored, and not even just the realm of political science, but also in the realm of philosophy.
Right.
You know what I mean? I took philosophy as a double major because I wanted that kind of, personal understanding. You know what I mean? That higher overstanding, I should say. And when I'm going to an institution like York University, and you see, they teach a lot of the Western Europeanized, philosophers and political theorists, but they don't really teach a lot of, political thought coming from various other areas. You know what I mean? For example, for me, I was born here, but my mom's from Jamaica, my dad's from Ghana. But when it came to African philosophy, it's so rare to find any courses regarding that specific field of thought. So all you're really getting taught is westernized aspects of beliefs, which ultimately, in my opinion, in my strong opinion, supports systemic racialized society. So that's one of my biggest gripes, is that not only do you get an absence of various theorists when it comes to the disciplines that I'm talking about, political science and philosophy, but you also get a very small course load of options you could pick from, be it as electives or being as core courses, regarding any of those field of thoughts that's not really within this westernized Western American context, and also from their westernized historical context. So that's one of my biggest gripes that I have with York University. Sorry, I hope you don't mind me rambling on a little bit.
No, I want you to be your authentic self and express whatever you feel comfortable that you want to share the world, because we want to wake up people.
Yeah, for real.
And if it's just one person, we did our job.
For real. And that's what it ultimately is. And, people don't think that these things don't relate to what goes on nowadays when they do. We have this notion of lifestyle largely because of what we stem from our thought. The whole concept of time stems from a very capitalist perspective that you can't look outside of the educational realm. Because when you look at other societies, such as when I did my own personal research regarding like Akan philosophy, for example, that's part of, you know, my lineage. You know, I'm part of as a Ghanaian, I'm part of the Ashanti tribe, and they're in Ghana, and they're part of the Akan people. And Akan people had their own philosophical thought, and they even conceptualize aspects of time differently. So even how they understood time versus how they looked at it there and how we look at it here, where it's very commodified, it helps understand why people are living in the ways that they do now, because they're not looking in control of the time that what they think that they are in. And if they're not utilizing that time to make $1, then they're wasting their life in some aspect, and that leads to so much other bullshit. You know what I mean? Where you feel like you always have to be doing something, chasing the almighty dollar.
Right.
You know what I mean? Where you're working your ass off and you're not spending time in your communities, you're not spending time in your families, and you're not ultimately living the kind of happy life that you want. You know, so that's why I'm glad that you brought me out to have this kind of discussion, because yeah, people need to, you know, educate themselves more and realize that, look, like, you know, the institution is part of the trap. You can't ignore that, you know, and it's up to you. It's your diligence. It's up to you to put in the diligence to educate yourself accordingly, you know, to see what makes you happy in life. And I know that, you know, what made me happy was understanding what are some of the barriers that I have within the educational system. What are some of the obstacles that they present when it comes to understanding history and how it relates to me as a black man, you know, and understanding what I want out of when I'm researching in order to, you know, have that kind of happy life that I would want for myself. And that's where it led me to, like, you know, because I took, you know, poli-sci, philosophy and, you know, public policy, and, you know, that geared me towards understanding the policies that go on now, understanding how they interact with our people, and understanding what modes of thought that it stemmed from, which is not from black thought. It's not. It's from a racialized thought, and that's what they're reinforcing within our educational system. So, you know, you can't. Even when you learn these kind of things, you can't look at it as a very one-dimensional. Like, oh no, it's just, you know, they didn't teach him much about, you know, his history as, you know, a black person. But it's about how what they're teaching us encourages certain thoughts in modern day time that helps reinforce the kind of, you know, negative systemic practices that we have now today. So it gets deep. It gets deep.
Wow. Right. So we're going to stop there because, this is a to be continued series. This is our, you know, the first, you know, client of our Cape TV News, and it's a TV show. It's going to be broadcast all over the world, and we want stories of all kinds everywhere around the world. So thank you, Mr. Wayne. It was a pleasure meeting you. And any other things you'd like to say to the viewers?
But just, you know, follow us on Instagram, Malton People's Movement. Check us out. Also check out my own personal page, Lion Collective. You know, we just help to bring awareness of what's going on in the GTA. We stay woke, you know what I mean? And where we stay in our communities, and we always make sure we in that. You know, that's pretty much it.
Right, we're stronger together. Thank you.